This video examines newly released court documents in an active missing persons investigation. All individuals discussed are presumed innocent. January 15th, 2026. 8 months and 13 days after Lily and Jack Sullivan were reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, court documents that had been sealed for months were released to the public. The documents, obtained by CBC News and the Globe and Mail, reveal new details about the investigation. Details about the relationship between the individual's mother and her partner. Details about what was told to police in multiple statements. Details about evidence seized and examined. And most significantly, details about how RCMP is approaching this case and what they believe may have occurred. For the first time, the public is seeing inside the investigative process. And what these documents reveal raises more questions than answers. Lily and Jack Sullivan, RCMP breakthrough, new court documents released today. Lily Sullivan and her brother Jack were reported missing on May 2, 2025 at 10:01 a.m. Their mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, called 911 from their home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia. According to the call, the individuals had wandered away from the property. Brooks-Murray told dispatchers she and her partner, Daniel Martell, had been dozing in bed with their toddler when the individuals disappeared. When they woke, the individuals were gone. A massive search was launched immediately. Over 160 volunteers, ground search teams, police dogs, drones, helicopters, 8.5 square kilometers of dense forest were searched. But no trace was found except for a pink blanket belonging to Lily. The search was scaled back after 6 days, but the investigation did not stop. RCMP Major Crime Unit took over, and for 8 months investigators have been working to determine what happened. Before we examine what these newly released court documents reveal about the investigation, if you are following the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, or if you want to understand how major crime investigations work in Canada, subscribe to Unsolved Archive and turn on notifications. We focus on official documents, verified information, and the investigative process. Now, let us break down what RCMP has been investigating, what these documents reveal, and why this case may be approaching a critical turning point. The court documents released on January 15th are applications filed by RCMP between May 16th and July 16th, 2025. These are information to obtain documents, known as ITOs. When police need to access certain records, phone data, bank statements, surveillance footage, they must apply to a judge. They must explain why the information is needed and how it relates to the investigation. These applications were initially sealed by court order. This is standard practice in sensitive investigations. Releasing information too early could compromise investigative techniques. It could alert persons of interest. It could taint potential witnesses. But media organizations, including CBC News and the Globe and Mail, requested the documents be unsealed. RCMP consented to release some information. Significant portions remain redacted. What has been released provides the most detailed look yet at what RCMP has been investigating. The documents reveal RCMP made 12 applications under the Missing Persons Act. One was for cell phone records of both Malehya Brooks-Murray and Daniel Martell. Another was for school bus video surveillance around the home. Additional applications requested bank records and other files, the specifics of which were redacted. According to the documents, the last time Lily and Jack's location was independently verified was May 1st at 2:25 p.m. at their local Dollarama store via video surveillance. Investigators stated this information could assist the investigation by helping identify further leads and possibly locate the individuals. One of the most significant revelations in the documents relates to the relationship between Brooks-Murray and Martell. According to court documents, Brooks-Murray was interviewed by police multiple times. In those interviews, she discussed her relationship with Martell. She told police she moved in with him on his mother's property in Lansdowne around August 2023. During her fifth statement to police, nearly a week after she broke up with Martell following the disappearance, Brooks-Murray was asked if Martell was ever physically abusive. According to the documents, Malehya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mother, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Martell denied these allegations. According to the documents, he told police the former couple yelled at each other when fighting, but there was no physical violence. Martell has also denied these allegations publicly. In a text message to the Globe and Mail, he wrote, "I did not ever abuse Brooks-Murray." He described the allegation as a personal attack that unfairly cast suspicion over him. He stated neither he nor his family had anything to do with the disappearance. It is important to note the abuse allegation has not been tested in court. Martell has not been charged with any offense. These are statements documented in police applications, not proven facts. Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon, RCMP acting officer in charge of major crime and behavioral sciences, confirmed the nature of the relationship between Brooks-Murray and Martell at the time of the disappearance as part of the investigation. When asked if any family members are considered suspects, McCammon stated there are no suspects he can identify at this time. He said investigators continue to gather information and assess evidence. Decisions will be made based on that evidence. The documents also reveal details about the days leading up to May 2nd. According to statements Brooks-Murray provided to police, she kept Lily and Jack home from school on May 1st because they had coughs. They had also been absent April 30th due to a professional development day. On May 1st, everyone woke around 9 a.m. The individuals played and watched television while Brooks-Murray made breakfast and tidied the house. Around noon, she, Martell, their toddler, and the individuals drove to New Glasgow in Brooks-Murray's 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder. They went to Dollarama. This is where surveillance footage captured them at 2:25 p.m. They returned home. According to Brooks-Murray's statement, the individuals wore the same clothes to bed they had worn during the day. Lily in a pink sweater, pink pajamas with white shapes, a Barbie top and pink socks. Jack in black sweatpants, a t-shirt and diaper. Brooks-Murray told police she had been too tired to unpack clean laundry she had done at her grandmother's the previous night. The individuals were tucked into bed around 10 p.m., Jack with his blanket and dinosaur, Lily with her cream corduroy backpack with strawberries on it. Brooks-Murray shut the bedroom door. She and the toddler went to bed. Daniel stayed up. She told police she was not woken throughout the night and did not know when Daniel came to bed. On May 2nd, around 6:15 a.m., Brooks-Murray marked the individuals absent from school due to illness. According to her statement, when she woke later that morning, the individuals were not in their room. Their boots were gone. Jack's blue dinosaur boots, Lily's pink rubber boots. Lily's white backpack with strawberries was also missing. Brooks-Murray and Martell searched the property. When they could not find the individuals, Brooks-Murray called 911 at 10:01 a.m. The documents reveal Martell also provided statements to police. He told investigators he and Brooks-Murray got up and looked for the individuals, both by car and on foot. He said while searching the woods, he thought he heard a scream that sounded like the individuals. But when he stopped to listen, a helicopter overhead drowned out all other sounds. This detail has not been corroborated. One of the most discussed pieces of evidence in the case is the pink blanket. The documents provide more detail about this item. On May 2nd, 3 family members found a pink blanket in a tree on Lansdowne Station Road, exactly 1 kilometer from the family home. A photo was shown to Brooks-Murray and Martell, who confirmed it belonged to Lily. Later, police dispatched a sniffer dog to the area where the blanket was found. The animal was unable to pick up a scent. On May 4th, another piece of blanket was seized by police after it was found inside a trash bag at the end of the driveway of the home. Police confirmed both pieces were part of the same blanket. This raises significant questions. How did part of the blanket end up in a tree 1 kilometer from the home? How did another part end up in a trash bag at the end of the driveway? The documents do not provide answers, but the blanket has been sent for forensic testing. Results of that testing have not been publicly released. The documents also reveal investigators examined boot prints found in the area. Clumps of boot prints in 2 different sizes, including what appeared to be from an individual, were found on a pipeline in the area during the first few days of the search. Police later determined these imprints matched the type of boot Lily was wearing when she disappeared. Other items seized by investigators included toothbrushes belonging to the individuals, a sock, a piece of purple fabric, scat, which could be human or animal, indent impression castings, typically used to gather casts of boot prints or tire tracks. Polygraph testing became a focus of public interest when details emerged in the documents. At least 4 polygraph examinations were conducted. On May 12th, Brooks-Murray and Martell both underwent polygraph tests at the RCMP detachment in Bible Hill, Nova Scotia. According to the documents, both examinations indicated truthful answers. An unidentified investigator wrote in the documents, At this point in the investigation, the disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred, because the individuals are still missing. Polygraph examinations were conducted with the intention of ruling out that possibility. On June 10th, the step-grandmother, Janie Mackenzie, underwent a polygraph examination. However, the document notes her physiology was not suitable for analysis, and an opinion on the examination was not rendered. On June 12th, the biological father, Cody Sullivan, underwent a polygraph and passed, with his answers found to be truthful. The case of the biological father is addressed in the documents. On May 3rd, police received a report that the individuals might be with their biological father. Brooks-Murray later reported to police she thought Cody Sullivan might have picked them up and taken them to New Brunswick. Police sought camera footage at the Cobequid Pass Toll Plaza on the Trans-Canada Highway in Nova Scotia between May 1st at 2:25 p.m. and May 3rd at 3 a.m. This would help verify whether the individuals left Nova Scotia. Police met with Cody Sullivan on May 22nd. He told police he had been in a relationship with Brooks-Murray but had not seen her or the individuals in 3 years. He said he paid child support, contrary to what Brooks-Murray had told police. He said he was home on May 2nd and never goes anywhere. His polygraph results indicated he was truthful. This line of investigation appears to have been resolved. The documents also reference witness statements that have generated significant interest. One witness reported seeing two individuals walking along the road not far from the home on the morning of May 2nd. Natasha Haywood filed her report on May 31st. She described seeing what appeared to be a young individual holding another's hand. They were walking toward a woman around 50 to 60 years old with a loose curl haircut. The woman was waiting with the rear door open on an older Model tan or gold sedan. This witness statement has not been corroborated. Investigators have not publicly stated whether they have identified this vehicle or person. Another set of witness statements involves vehicle activity near the home during the night. Two neighbors told police they heard a vehicle coming and going in the middle of the night, hours before the individuals were reported missing. One neighbor described hearing a vehicle leaving and returning multiple times after midnight. Another neighbor, Justin Smith, told police he heard a vehicle around 1:30 a.m. He said he heard a car turn around by the railroad tracks, near the area where police found the pink blanket and boot prints. He said the car made a noise, went quiet for about 2 minutes, then drove toward Lairg Road, which is in the same direction as the home where the individuals lived. However, RCMP reviewed surveillance footage from the area and reportedly found no evidence of vehicles at those times. This creates a discrepancy that investigators must resolve. Perhaps most significantly, the newly released portions of court documents include statements from Crown prosecutors about the direction of the investigation. In submissions filed with the court as part of media applications to access records, the Crown noted that although there is currently no reasonable grounds to believe a crime has taken place, as the investigation persists, it could become criminal, and persons of interest in the disappearance might be identified. This is a critical statement. It indicates that while the case is currently under the Missing Persons Act, the possibility of criminal charges has not been ruled out. The investigation could evolve based on evidence gathered. The documents also reference technology being used in the investigation. An affidavit filed by RCMP notes police are leveraging technology-based investigative techniques, which may provide information to support criminality and uncover the whereabouts of the missing individuals. Staff Sergeant McCammon confirmed these techniques include the use of sophisticated drones and video review programs. RCMP has reviewed over 8,100 video files to date. They have received over 1,000 tips from the public. All of this information is being assessed to form pictures of what may have taken place. The investigation has been criticized by some experts. Michael Arntfield, a criminology professor and former detective, told CBC he is surprised the investigation has not turned criminal. In his experience, missing persons cases are generally deemed suspicious if individuals are not found after about a week. He stated investigators appear to be cautious about whether foul play is involved. McCammon responded that once investigators have gathered all necessary information, decisions will be made on any criminality that may be relevant to the case. The release of these court documents provides the most detailed public account of the investigation to date. They reveal what RCMP has been examining: the relationship dynamics between Brooks-Murray and Martell, the timeline of events on May 1st and 2nd, the physical evidence collected, the witness statements received, the technology being employed, but they also reveal what remains unknown. Where are Lily and Jack Sullivan? What happened during the hours between when they were last seen and when they were reported missing? Why was part of a blanket found 1 kilometer from the home and another part in a trash bag at the driveway? What do the forensic test results show? Who was driving the vehicle neighbors reported hearing? Who was the woman with the tan sedan a witness reported seeing? 8 months have passed since May 2nd, 2025. The case has generated national and international attention. Volunteers have searched extensively. Police have deployed significant resources. Tips continue to come in, but the individuals have not been found. RCMP insists the investigation is active and ongoing. Staff Sergeant McCammon has stated publicly he is confident the case will be resolved. He says police are making headway. They are collecting information from all areas. They are assessing evidence. It is helping them form pictures of what may have taken place. But he has declined to share investigative theories. He says all avenues remain under consideration. He must consider the impact on long-term justice should criminal charges be laid. The family situation remains complex. Brooks-Murray and Martell are no longer in a relationship. They broke up shortly after the disappearance. Brooks-Murray has remained largely out of public view. She recently issued a statement describing how she misses the individuals and asking the public to come forward with information. Martell has been more public. He has given interviews. He has participated in vigils. He has stated he no longer believes the individuals are in the woods because of the extensive searches conducted. He says he also no longer suspects Brooks-Murray was involved, a theory he had initially suggested. Both have repeatedly denied any involvement. Both passed polygraph tests in May. The biological father, Cody Sullivan, had not seen the individuals in 3 years. He has cooperated with police. He passed his polygraph. He has been ruled out as being involved. The paternal grandmother, Belinda Gray, has been searching for answers. She has spent hours in the woods looking for clues. She has raised questions about what Child Protective Services knew. Previous reporting by the Globe and Mail revealed troubling issues in the home. Admitted substance use by Martell. Financial struggles. A visit from a provincial child protection social worker to investigate a report of suspected abuse or neglect. All of this is part of the investigative inquiry. The government of Nova Scotia continues to offer a reward of up to $150,000 for information deemed to be of investigative value. RCMP continues to ask anyone with information to contact the Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit at 902-896-5060 or contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers to remain anonymous at 1-800-222-TIPS. Every tip is assessed. Every piece of information could be the key that breaks the case. The release of these court documents on January 15, 2026, represents a significant moment in the investigation. For 8 months, much of what RCMP has been doing has remained confidential. Now, the public can see the scope of the investigation. The documents show RCMP has been thorough. They have examined the relationship between the adults in the home. They have tracked down witness statements. They have tested evidence. They have used technology to review thousands of video files. They have conducted polygraph tests. They have sought records from multiple sources. They are building a comprehensive picture. But the documents also show the challenges investigators face. Witness statements that conflict with surveillance footage. Physical evidence that raises questions, but does not provide definitive answers. Polygraph results that indicate truthfulness, but do not prove innocence. A case that is not currently criminal, but could become criminal. Persons of interest who may be identified but have not been named. This is the nature of complex investigations. Evidence is gathered piece by piece. Information is assessed. Theories are developed and tested. And slowly, a picture emerges. Where this investigation leads remains to be seen. The statement from Crown prosecutors that the case could become criminal is significant. It suggests evidence is pointing in directions that may eventually support charges, but reasonable grounds to believe a crime occurred have not yet been established. This is a high legal standard. It requires more than suspicion. It requires evidence that would justify arrest and prosecution. RCMP is working to determine if that threshold can be met. The individuals have now been missing for 8 months and 13 days. They were last independently verified to be alive on May 1st, 2025, at 2:25 p.m. at a Dollarama store in New Glasgow. Surveillance footage captured them with their mother and her partner. Hours later, they were gone. What happened in those hours is the question RCMP is working to answer. The newly released court documents provide pieces of that puzzle, but the full picture remains incomplete. The investigation continues, and somewhere, answers wait to be found. The court documents also reveal specific details about the investigative approach RCMP has taken. The applications for records access show investigators were focused on establishing a complete timeline. They sought cell phone records to determine who was communicating with whom during the critical time period. Phone records can show when calls were made, when messages were sent, when devices connected to cell towers. This data helps establish location and activity patterns. Bank records were requested to identify any unusual financial transactions, purchases made, ATM withdrawals, anything that might indicate preparation or activity related to the disappearance. Video surveillance from school buses was sought to determine if the individuals had been on buses in the days leading up to May 2nd, even though they were marked absent from school. The breadth of these applications demonstrates RCMP is conducting a comprehensive investigation. They are not focusing narrowly on one theory. They are gathering information from multiple sources to build a complete picture. This is standard procedure in major crime investigations. Cast a wide net initially. Collect all potentially relevant information. Then analyze that information to identify patterns, inconsistencies, and leads worth pursuing further. The documents also provide insight into how investigators handled the family members. Both Brooks-Murray and Martell were interviewed multiple times. Brooks-Murray provided at least 5 separate statements to police. This is typical in missing persons cases involving family members. Initial statements are often brief and focused on immediate facts. Subsequent statements provide more detail. As investigators gather additional information, they return to key witnesses with follow-up questions. The fact that Brooks-Murray's statements evolved over time, particularly regarding the relationship with Martell, is not unusual. People do not always disclose sensitive personal information immediately, especially information that might seem unrelated to the disappearance. It often takes multiple interviews before the full picture emerges. The polygraph testing deserves careful consideration. 7 polygraph examinations were conducted in total. Brooks-Murray passed, Martell passed, Cody Sullivan passed. Mackenzie's test was inconclusive due to physiological issues. 3 additional tests were conducted on individuals not publicly identified in the released portions of the documents. All who were tested and received results passed. This is significant information but must be understood in context. Polygraph tests are investigative tools, not definitive proof of truthfulness or deception. They are not admissible as evidence in Canadian courts. They measure physiological responses, heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, perspiration. The underlying theory is that deceptive answers cause stress responses that can be measured. But many factors can affect results. Anxiety, medication, physical conditions, test conditions, the skill of the examiner, the questions asked. A person can pass a polygraph and still have information they are withholding. A person can fail a polygraph and be completely truthful. This is why results are used as investigative tools, not court evidence. The fact that multiple individuals passed their tests means investigators cannot rely on polygraph results alone to focus suspicion. They must follow other evidence. But it also means polygraph results do not definitively clear anyone. The investigation must continue based on physical evidence, witness statements, timelines, and other verifiable facts. The pink blanket evidence raises particularly troubling questions. Finding one piece in a tree 1 kilometer from the home and another piece in a trash bag at the driveway suggests the blanket was torn or cut into pieces. This is not consistent with an individual carrying a blanket and accidentally dropping it. It suggests deliberate action. Someone separated the blanket into parts. One part ended up far from the home. Another part ended up in trash at the property. Why? If the individuals wandered into the woods and the blanket was with them, why would it be in pieces? If someone took the individuals, why would they leave pieces of the blanket in 2 different locations? The blanket has undergone forensic testing. Results have not been publicly disclosed. But this evidence is likely central to investigative theories about what occurred. The boot prints found near where the blanket was discovered add another layer. These prints match the type of boot Lily was wearing. They were found on a pipeline area. They were documented early in the search. But the documents do not indicate whether investigators determined these prints were definitely from Lily. or if they were simply the same type and size. This distinction matters. If the prints can be definitively matched to Lily's specific boots, it places her at that location. If they are only the same type and size, it is suggestive, but not definitive. The documents also mention boot prints in 2 different sizes were found, including what appeared to be from an individual. This suggests more than one person was in that area. But without more information, it is difficult to know what this means for the investigation. The witness statements about vehicles create both opportunities and challenges for investigators. Multiple neighbors reported hearing vehicle activity during the night. One described a vehicle leaving and returning multiple times. Another heard a vehicle at 1:30 a.m. near the railroad tracks. If these accounts are accurate, they suggest someone was moving around the area during hours when, according to statements, everyone at the home was asleep. But RCMP reviewed surveillance footage and reportedly found no evidence of vehicles at those times. This creates a dilemma. Either the witnesses are mistaken about what they heard, or the surveillance coverage did not capture the activity described. Rural areas often have limited surveillance camera coverage. It is possible a vehicle could be on roads not covered by cameras. It is also possible witnesses heard vehicles on different nights and conflated the timing. Or weather conditions, distance, or other factors affected what cameras captured. Investigators must work to resolve these discrepancies. The witness who reported seeing 2 individuals walking toward a tan or gold sedan is perhaps the most intriguing statement in the documents. Natasha Haywood filed this report on May 31st, nearly a month after the disappearance. She described seeing what appeared to be individuals walking hand in hand toward a woman with the rear door of a sedan open. If accurate, this could be significant, but questions remain. Why did this witness wait nearly a month to report what she saw? Was she certain about the date and time? Could she provide a description of the individuals that matched Lily and Jack? Could she describe the woman or the vehicle in detail that would help identify them? The documents do not provide these answers. But this statement is likely being investigated thoroughly. If the individuals were taken by someone in a vehicle, identifying that vehicle and person could break the case. The statement from Crown prosecutors that the case could become criminal must be understood in the context of how Canadian law handles missing persons investigations. The Missing Persons Act allows police to take certain investigative actions even without evidence of a crime. They can access records. They can conduct searches. They can interview witnesses. This is important because in missing persons cases, time is critical. Waiting to establish that a crime occurred before investigating could mean losing valuable evidence and time. However, if evidence emerges that suggests criminal activity, the investigation can transition. It can become a criminal investigation. Different legal standards apply. Different powers become available. The Crown's statement that this could happen indicates evidence is pointing in directions that may support such a transition. But that threshold has not been reached yet. Investigators are still gathering information, assessing evidence, and determining what can be proven. Staff Sergeant McCamon's comments about forming pictures of what may have taken place suggests investigators have developed theories. Based on the evidence gathered, they have ideas about scenarios that could explain the disappearance. But having theories is different from having proof. Theories must be tested against evidence. They must be able to withstand scrutiny. They must be supported by facts that can be presented in court if charges are eventually laid. This is why McCamon emphasizes they are considering all avenues. They are not committing publicly to one theory. They are following evidence wherever it leads. The case has generated intense public interest and speculation. Social media has been filled with theories, accusations, and amateur investigation. Staff Sergeant McCamon has acknowledged this creates challenges. Investigators must spend time and resources following up on tips that come from social media comments rather than actual knowledge. Misinformation spreads quickly online. False theories can take on lives of their own. This is why RCMP emphasizes the importance of focusing on verified information and official statements. Speculation may keep the case in public attention, but it can also hinder the investigation and cause harm to innocent people. The impact on the families involved cannot be overstated. Brooks-Murray has lost her 2 older individuals and is living with public scrutiny. Martell faces suspicion from the community and online. Cody Sullivan had not seen the individuals in years, but is now connected to their disappearance through investigation. Belinda Gray searches for her grandchildren while dealing with the pain of not knowing. All of these people are living through trauma. The release of court documents that include personal details about relationships, allegations of abuse, financial struggles, and other private matters adds to that trauma. This is why courts initially seal such documents. The balance between public interest in transparency and the privacy and legal rights of individuals involved is delicate. The investigation continues with multiple active lines of inquiry: forensic testing on items seized, analysis of thousands of video files, assessment of hundreds of tips, follow-up on witness statements, technology-based investigative techniques. All of this work is ongoing. RCMP has committed significant resources to this case. Multiple units are involved. Partnerships with agencies across Canada have been established. The commitment to finding answers is clear. If you have information about the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, RCMP asks that you contact the Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit at 902-896-5060. To remain anonymous, contact Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. And if you want to follow verified developments in this investigation, subscribe to Unsolved Archive. Hit that like button if you believe these newly released court documents represent progress in the investigation, and leave a comment with your thoughts on what the documents reveal about the direction of this case. Because here at Unsolved Archive, we focus on official documents, verified information, and the investigative process. Every case deserves thorough investigation. Every family deserves answers. And we will continue to follow this case until those answers come.